An OLAP cube is an array of data understood in terms of its 0 or more dimensions. OLAP is an acronym for Online Analytical Processing. OLAP is a computer-based technique for analyzing business data in the search for business intelligence. Terminology: a cube can be considered a generalization of a three-dimensional spreadsheet. For example, a company might wish to summarize financial data by product, by time period, and by city to compare actual and budget expenses. Product, time, city and scenario are the data's dimensions. Cube is a shortcut for multidimensional dataset, given that data can have an arbitrary number of dimensions. The term hypercube is sometimes used, especially for data with more than 3 dimensions. Slicer is a term for a dimension which is held constant for all cells so that multidimensional information can be shown in a 2-dimensional physical space of a spreadsheet or pivot table. Each cell of the cube holds a number that represents some measure of the business, such as sales, profits, expenses, budget and forecast. OLAP data is typically stored in a star schema or snowflake schema in a relational data warehouse or in a special-purpose data management system. Measures are derived from the records in the fact table and dimensions are derived from the dimension tables. Hierarchy: the elements of a dimension can be organized as a hierarchy, a set of parent-child relationships, typically where a parent member summarizes its children. Parent elements can further be aggregated as the children of another parent. For example, May 2005's parent is second quarter 2005, which is in turn the child of year 2005. Similarly, cities are the children of regions. Products roll into product groups and individual expense items into types of expenditure. Operations: conceiving data as a cube with hierarchical dimensions leads to conceptually straightforward operations to facilitate analysis. Aligning the data content with a familiar visualization enhances analyst learning and productivity. The user-initiated process of navigating by calling for page displays interactively, through the specification of slices via rotations and drill down up is sometimes called slice and dice. Common operations include slice and dice, drill down, roll up, and pivot. Slice is the act of picking a rectangular subset of a cube by choosing a single value for one of its dimensions, creating a new cube with one fewer dimension. The picture shows a slicing operation. The sales figures of all sales regions and all product categories of the company in the year 2004 are sliced out of the data cube. Dice: the dice operation produces a subcube by allowing the analyst to pick specific values of multiple dimensions. The picture shows a dicing operation. The new cube shows the sales figures of a limited number of product categories. The time and region dimensions cover the same range as before. Drill down up allows the user to navigate among levels of data ranging from the most summarized to the most detailed. The picture shows a drill down operation. The analyst moves from the summary category outdoor saucer 1/4 stung to see the sales figures for the individual products. Roll-up: a roll-up involves summarizing the data along a dimension. The summarization rule might be computing totals along a hierarchy or applying a set of formulas such as profit equals sales, expenses. Pivot allows an analyst to rotate the cube in space to see its various faces. For example, cities could be arranged vertically and products horizontally while viewing data for a particular quarter. Pivoting could replace products with time periods to see data across time for a single product. The picture shows a pivoting operation. The whole cube is rotated, giving another perspective on the data. Mathematical definition: in database theory, an OLAP cube is an abstract representation of a projection of an RDBMS relation. Given a relation of order n, consider a projection that subtends x, y, and z as the key and w as the residual attribute. Characterizing this as a function, var w, the attributes x, y, and z correspond to the axes of the cube, while the w value into which each triple maps corresponds to the data element that populates each cell of the cube. Insofar as two-dimensional output devices cannot readily characterize 3 dimensions, it is more practical to project slices of the data cube, gar W, which may suppress a primary key, but still have some semantic significance, perhaps a slice of the triadic functional representation for a given Z value of interest. The motivation behind OLAP displays harks back to the cross-tabbed report paradigm of 1980s DBMS. The resulting spreadsheet-style display, where values of X populate row $1, values of Y populate column $A, and values of GAR W populate the individual cells southeast of $2 Bahamian, so to speak, $2 Bahamian itself included. See also. References. External links, Daniel Lemire. Data Warehousing and OLAP, a research-oriented bibliography. Retrieved March 5, 2008. The RDF Data Cube Vocabulary.